Now, what happens when you put exponents on the i's? Well, I to the 1 power is just a normal I, so that's square root 1. Now, I to the 2nd power, well, let's try that. Let's write square root negative 1, and then let's square it. What do I get? I get negative 1. Yeah, because the square and the square root cancel each other out. Okay, let's try out the next one. Negative 1 to the 3rd power. What does that mean? Well, that means square root negative 1 times square root negative 1 times square root negative 1. Now, square root negative 1 times square root negative 1, we already know what that does because it was the square. So this turns into negative 1, and then there's still a square root negative 1. So that's the I. So our final answer is negative I. So if we follow this pattern that there's I, remember this is still just normal I, negative 1, negative I, you can probably guess that the next thing, the only thing I haven't used, is a positive 1. And this whole pattern from this point on repeats again and again. So I to the 5th power is just like I to the 1st power. I to the 6th power is just like I to the 2nd power, negative 1. So this pattern goes over and over and over again. So to figure out something as big as I to the 25th power, we need to figure out where it hits in that pattern. So what was the last multiple of 25? Well, there's I to the 24th, that's a multiple of 4. And then there's I to the 25th power. Well, since I to the 24th power is a multiple of 4, it's the same as I to the 4th power, which is equal to 1. So in our pattern, which again off to the side we'll write again, it goes I, negative 1, negative I, 1. Okay? For 1, 2, 3, and 4. Our next number in the pattern would have to be, going back to the top, I, negative 1, negative I, 1. I, negative 1, negative I, 1. If we're at 1, then we go back up to I. So I to the 25th power is equal to I. What about I to the 57th? Well, where is the multiple of 4 in there? Well, 40 is a multiple of 4. 44 is a multiple of 4. 48 is a multiple of 4. You see how I'm going up in multiples? 40, 44, 48. Next one would be 52, 56. So 56. So let me move it over here. So we have I to the 56th power, and then we get to I to the 57th power. I to the 56th power is a multiple of 4, so it's just like I to the 4th power, equal to 1. So this is the next in the pattern, which goes back up to normal I. Remember, this cycle keeps it keeps going around and around and around, going back down and back down over and over and over again. Put my dot on my I. How does this work on plotting imaginary numbers? We use real for the x-axis and imaginary for the y-axis, and then you just basically plot them. So our first one is positive 3 to go there, and negative 4 would be 1, 2, 3, 4 down. Yep. So there you go. Right there is 3 minus 4i. Next up is negative 2. So go to negative 2 real, positive 3, and just like plotting normal points, there we go, right there. Negative 2 plus 3i. For our 3i, it just goes to 3i. That's it. 1, 2, 3. Right there. 3i. That's it. It doesn't go over or to the right or to the left for real. And then we all know that negative 3 is just a normal real number, so it would just go right here. No tricks about that one. And that's how you graph points on the imaginary plane. Real and imaginary together. The last thing is to show you guys how do you take the absolute value of complex numbers. Like how do you actually find the distance from 0 up to that point. Like what I mean is the distance from 0 up to there. How do you find that distance? Well, that's the absolute value. So we have a formula. The formula is kind of like, a little bit like Pythagorean theorem. So in this problem right here, first off, it's good to recognize what A is. A is not there, so A is 0. But B is there, B is 2. So now we go ahead and plug those into our formula. 0 squared plus 2 squared. And that's equal to the square root of 4, which is equal to 2. There we go. Now let's try the next one. And the next one, A is equal to 3, but B is equal to negative 2. So now we're ready to put into the formula. 3 squared plus negative 2 squared. That's going to be equal to 9 plus 4, which is equal to the square root of 13, which is a prime number, so that is as simple as that radical is going to get. Okay, so that's imaginary numbers. I know it's a lot to throw you all at once, but go back to the video, rewatch it, take your notes, and leave questions in the comments or email me, and I'll see you in class.